Hi. So the first question says, what parameters, I don't know, are you examining and why did you choose them? I don't know how I know how to say that word anymore. It's going to come later. What I said was I was examining the different ages and processing what the generations, like how they're different because the different baby boomer generation and when those went through, or baby decreases because of generation ideology or history, like Gen Z saying they don't want babies, they want kids, so it should be a decrease later on in the future, and like the baby boomers, like I had said, with a bigger increase. The second question says, what do you think these data are showing, and provide hypothesized explanations. And I said I think it's interesting because of the population from the previous generations, like the baby boomers, since there were so many of them, and how the population of babies had been less and less. And if you play around with the little toggle thing on the bottom, it goes where there's more and more babies born until around 2058 when the population actually stops growing, and it seems the same for a little while, and then it starts going less and less. And I think that's the idea of not having children from the later millennials and Gen Z. I think the data shows how the population will differ within the new populations being born after each year, and then as they get older, being less and less since they're the ones that are dying off. And that's why you see there's tons and tons of babies, and then they get less and less and less. That's what that means. Does there appear to be, this is question 4, does there appear to be a connection between I just don't know how to say that. My goodness, that you've investigated, why or why not? And I said this has a connection with what I've been exploring, because I was looking at the ages and stuff. I was just exploring one piece rather than like the whole thing though, instead of looking and saying like, oh, it could be multiple things. I was just looking at one thing, which was the babies. Like I was looking at the babies and how they were growing, and then they started getting less. And then question 5 says, how do they relate to human population growth, and why, and what impact do they have on the growth rate? Oh my gosh. And I said the graph is the human population growth and death that they have, and that's why you see the big rises and then the decreases later on. And the impact from this is that the more people there are, then there's less resources available for everyone. And the last question says, why do you think they have this impact on the human population growth rate? And I said, this has an impact on the rate of growth because there are more babies being born. However, millions are dying by even their 30th birthday, and the number just decreases immensely as decades keep passing on, which I think it was 135 million babies, or 36 babies, and that's how many 1-year-olds, 2-year-olds, and then 3-year-olds, 135, and then since then it just decreases and decreasing, and it just keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller until it gets to thousands rather than millions. Yeah, this was the assignment, so have a good night.